Whenever you think about any European country, what comes first to your mind? In my opinion, white people, clean streets, and a prosperous culture. But there is a huge difference between the Europe of earlier times and the Europe of today. In most of the countries of Europe, now along with white faces, you can also see Asian, African, and Arab faces. Europe isn't dying from war or economic ruin. It's being transformed, quietly, rapidly, and irreversibly. For years, experts warned about mass immigration, low birth rates, and cultural shifts. Now, in 2025, that future has arrived. So in today's video, we are going to show you 10 fastest collapsing European countries in 2025. Nations where mass migration, Muslim population surges, and cultural replacement are pushing societies to the edge. But before starting the video, I want to request you, we put our best efforts to create our every single video. So please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's start. Number 10. Sweden. Sweden is widely known as the land of the midnight sun. This nickname refers to the natural phenomenon where the sun doesn't set during summer in the Arctic Circle and areas further north. In these regions, the sun remains visible for 24 hours a day around the summer solstice. Sweden was once Europe's model of peace, wealth, and equality. Now, in 2025, it's among the continent's most unstable nations. Roughly 26% of Sweden's population is foreign-born. In cities like Malmö, Muslims are estimated to represent over 40% of the population under age 30. The country has over 60 government-classified vulnerable areas, districts where crime, social unrest, and cultural segregation dominate. While most immigrants came seeking peace, Sweden's failure to integrate new communities has created zones where Sharia-style values, clan-based justice, and mistrust of police take hold. Violent crime has spiked. Gang shootings, grenade attacks, and car fires are now common headlines. Sweden's once proud welfare state is collapsing under the pressure. And native Swedes? They're quietly fleeing. Number 9. Belgium. Belgium is well known for its chocolate, waffles, beer, and French fries. It's also recognized for its medieval towns, vibrant cities, and contributions to art and culture. But today Belgium faces a different kind of threat. In Brussels, the capital of the European Union, Muslims now make up nearly 30% of the total population. Among school-age children, that number is even higher. The district of Molenbeek, known globally for links to past terror plots, has become a symbol of failed integration. Police presence is minimal, and certain streets are unofficially governed by local community leaders, not Belgian law. Mosques funded by foreign governments continue to grow in number. The government admits radical beliefs are rising among disconnected youth. Belgian values are being replaced in real time, especially in urban schools and housing projects. In 2025 alone, over 200 Islamic cultural centers opened across Belgium, many with no official state oversight. Arabic is now the second most spoken language in Brussels homes, surpassing both Dutch and French in some neighborhoods. School curriculums are under pressure, with some teachers reporting backlash for promoting Western history and traditions. Local authorities quietly adjusted public holiday plans after repeated demands from religious lobby groups. Sharia-influenced arbitration has been informally used in family and civil disputes in at least 2 Brussels districts. Recruitment activity by foreign-backed religious institutions has expanded to playgrounds, youth clubs, and sports centers. Belgium's National Intelligence Agency now lists homegrown extremism as the country's top domestic threat, above cybercrime and organized gangs. Number 8. Germany. Germany welcomed over 1.5 million refugees during the 2015 to 2016 crisis. Now, in 2025, it's dealing with the consequences. Germany has over 7.5 million Muslims, according to the Federal Office for Migration. In Berlin's Neukölln district, more than 75% of children under 10 are of foreign background, many from Muslim families. German authorities warn of growing parallel societies, where young people speak only Arabic or Turkish, and German law is replaced with clan loyalty and religious conservatism. The welfare burden is staggering. Over 60% of non-EU immigrants rely on state aid. Cultural tensions flare over gender equality, LGBTQ rights, and school curriculum. What began as a humanitarian effort has morphed into a national identity crisis. Police forces report entire neighborhoods where they require backup just to enter. Religious schools, some unregistered, are operating without oversight, spreading isolationist teachings. Public swimming pools have introduced gender-segregated hours after repeated complaints and conflicts. Kindergarten staff in immigrant-heavy districts face daily resistance over holiday decorations, dress codes, and meal plans. National security agencies have intercepted encrypted group chats discussing ideological grooming of minors. Job market integration remains a failure. Unemployment among Muslim immigrants is nearly triple the national average. German citizens are increasingly relocating from cities to rural areas, citing cultural erosion and safety concerns. For many, this isn't just immigration. It's irreversible transformation. More than 500 mosques in Germany are now funded by external actors, raising concerns over foreign influence in religious affairs. Major urban hospitals report communication barriers in emergency care due to language segregation. Domestic intelligence confirms a steady rise in Salafist networks, now exceeding 12,000 known individuals. Even military recruitment offices report challenges, as cultural loyalty questions arise among second-generation immigrant youth. Number 7. Netherlands. The Netherlands was once praised for multicultural harmony, but beneath the surface, fragmentation is deepening. As of 2025, Muslims make up over 9% of the population. In cities like Rotterdam, they comprise nearly 30% of residents. Over half of young students in some school districts are from non-Dutch backgrounds. And while many integrate successfully, a growing number form isolated communities with very different worldviews. Dutch intelligence agencies report growing concerns about ideological networks that reject core Dutch values, such as gender equality and secular education. The welfare state is under immense strain. Unemployment among first- and second-generation migrants remains significantly high. Even long-time locals are starting to relocate, quietly withdrawing from certain neighborhoods. Several municipalities now report no-go zones, where Dutch is rarely spoken and law enforcement faces open hostility. Traditional Dutch holidays, once universally celebrated, are now quietly scaled back in schools to avoid cultural conflict. Islamic organizations with foreign funding have expanded rapidly, some linked to ultra-conservative teachings. Teachers report rising classroom tensions, where lessons on human rights or sexual education are frequently challenged. In Amsterdam alone, youth radicalization prevention programs have tripled in cost over the past 5 years. Police patrols have increased around Jewish and LGBTQ centers due to repeated threats traced to extremist circles. Public housing waitlists have grown longer as demographic shifts accelerate in urban centers. For many Dutch citizens, the country they once recognized is slowly slipping away. Local elections in certain districts now see majority votes for religiously aligned candidates. Street-level surveillance footage shows increasing incidents of harassment tied to dress, gender, or lifestyle. Public debates on integration have become highly polarized, silencing moderate voices. Libraries and cultural centers face pressure to remove materials deemed offensive by activist groups. Government cohesion is weakening as parties clash over how to preserve Dutch identity without violating EU laws. Number 6. Austria. Austria is particularly known for its classical music, folk music, Baroque architecture, coffee culture, winter sports, and alpine traditions. Austria is historically a strongly Catholic country, having been the center of the Habsburg monarchy, which championed Roman Catholicism. But now, in Vienna, 15% of the population is now Muslim. But the bigger shock? Over 50% of children in public schools come from immigrant backgrounds. Public school curriculums are being modified. Pork is removed from menus. Traditional Christian holidays are renamed winter break. Austrian identity is dissolving in classrooms, playgrounds, and hospitals. Austria's own Ministry of Integration released warnings in 2024. A large percentage of immigrant youth, especially from conservative Muslim families, show low support for democratic values and gender equality. If current trends continue, the Austria of Mozart and Strauss will vanish within one generation. Police departments in Vienna report growing difficulty in community cooperation within heavily migrant neighborhoods. Arabic, Turkish, and Bosnian are now spoken more often than German in several urban primary schools. Teachers describe open resistance to secular teachings, especially in subjects like biology and ethics. Local councils have faced backlash for attempting to enforce national dress code standards in public buildings. Hospital staff report frequent cultural clashes, especially regarding treatment by female doctors. Religious organizations funded by foreign regimes continue to build influence, quietly replacing local civic spaces. Housing segregation is accelerating. Entire apartment blocks are now occupied almost exclusively by one ethnic group. And for many Austrians, the fear is no longer whispered. It's part of daily life. Burqa bans and face-covering laws are now openly defied in several municipalities. Youth crime linked to clan-based networks is up 40% since 2020 in urban zones. Integration funding has nearly doubled, yet measurable results continue to decline. Vienna's historic districts are seeing a quiet exodus of native families. What was once cultural coexistence now feels more like cultural surrender. Number 5. France. France has Europe's largest Muslim population, over 12% of the total population. In cities like Marseille, that figure exceeds 35%. The government maintains a list of over 1,500 sensitive urban zones, where law enforcement faces serious resistance. Islamist separatism has become a political reality. In 2023, France passed legislation targeting parallel societies that operate outside French law, including illegal Sharia-style arbitration and unregistered religious schools. Protests are routine. Clashes with police have intensified. Churches are closing. In their place, mosques, many funded by foreign nations, are rising rapidly. If current fertility and migration trends continue, native French citizens may become a minority in urban areas within 2 decades. French intelligence services have dismantled over 400 radicalization networks since 2020, but admit many more remain underground. Public schools now routinely face pressure to alter curriculum topics related to secularism, gender, and sexuality. In some districts, French language use among youth has declined, replaced by Arabic dialects in homes and streets. Female teachers have reported threats for refusing to accommodate conservative dress codes in class. Public housing projects are becoming ethnically homogeneous, reinforcing cultural isolation. Emergency responders face growing hostility in migrant-heavy suburbs, requiring escort in high-risk areas. Civil registry officials say arranged marriages involving minors are increasingly reported, but rarely prosecuted. Number 4. Denmark. Denmark's transformation is more discreet, but deeply strategic. Denmark's transformation is more discreet, but deeply strategic. Muslims make up over 6% of the Danish population. In Copenhagen, that number climbs much higher in specific districts. Denmark has implemented quiet measures. Arabic names are flagged in housing applications. Immigrant-heavy families are relocated away from high-trust neighborhoods. The national census no longer records religious affiliation. Critics say the government is trying to statistically erase Islam from official datasets. At the same time, tensions in schools are rising. Prayer breaks are discouraged. Conservative dress is scrutinized. Danish values of gender equality face growing resistance in some communities. This is a soft collapse, happening through policy, silence, and quiet division. Several daycare centers have stopped celebrating traditional Danish holidays to avoid cultural conflict. Integration officers now conduct surprise home visits to monitor value alignment in immigrant households. Local libraries have removed children's books considered too Western by new community boards. Law enforcement receives culture threat briefings that avoid naming groups, but focus on behavior patterns. More Danes are quietly relocating to rural areas, fearing the slow erosion of their national identity. Number 3. Italy. Italy remains Europe's frontline for illegal migration. As of 2025, foreign-born residents make up 10% of the population. But in southern towns, that number can reach 30% or more. Over 1 million migrants, mostly from North Africa and the Middle East, have arrived since 2015, many entering without proper documentation. Muslim communities are growing rapidly. In places like Palermo and Naples, locals say their culture is being displaced. Illegal housing settlements, unregulated markets, and street-level crime have surged. The Italian Coast Guard intercepts thousands of boats every month, with no long-term solution in sight. Italy's welfare system is crumbling. Hospitals are collapsing under demand. Local youth are unemployed, while new arrivals compete for work and housing. In some cities, police refuse to enter certain migrant-dominated zones without full tactical support. Traditional festivals and religious processions are now scaled down or cancelled due to security concerns. Language barriers have overwhelmed public schools, with teachers struggling to manage mixed classrooms. Rural depopulation has led to entire villages being resettled with migrant families, often without local consent. What was once a gateway to Europe is now a battleground for identity, stability, and survival. Number 2, United Kingdom. The UK is now fully split between two realities. Nationally, over 7% of the population is Muslim. But in cities like Birmingham, Luton, and East London, that number passes 35% in many districts. A 2024 survey showed more than 100 community councils operate under Sharia-based principles. These are especially active in family matters like divorce, custody, and inheritance. British traditions are disappearing from the public square. Easter and Christmas are minimized in schools. Even poppies, once sacred symbols of remembrance, are now considered offensive in some areas. Large-scale investigations into organized abuse rings in cities like Rotherham revealed a disturbing pattern. Authorities often hesitated to act due to fear of appearing discriminatory. This fear has become institutional, and with birth rates dropping and migration continuing, England's cultural majority is fading fast. In some boroughs, English is now a second language. It's rarely spoken in homes, markets, or classrooms. Police have introduced cultural awareness zones during routine patrols. These zones help avoid triggering unrest in sensitive districts. Public swimming facilities now enforce gender-segregated hours. This was done in response to religious demands. Local councils have renamed certain landmarks to reflect community inclusivity. Centuries of British heritage are being erased in the process. Extremism watch lists have tripled since 2020. Yet prosecutions remain politically delicate. Teachers are instructed to avoid controversial topics. Subjects like gender, religion, and human rights are now treated as threats. Public opinion is fracturing rapidly. Record numbers of native Britons now express intent to emigrate. And for millions, the question is no longer if the country is changing, but whether it can ever return. Number 1, France again. France deserves a second mention, because it's closer to collapse than any other Western nation. By 2025, demographers say 1 in 3 young French citizens in major cities are of Muslim background. President Macron declared in 2024, France is under threat from its own fragmentation. And he's right. Entire suburbs operate under different rules. Religious leaders openly call for Islamic education zones. Secularism, the foundation of the French Republic, is under attack from within. French prisons are now over 60% Muslim. Riots in Lyon, Paris, and Marseille happen monthly. Even basic French symbols, like the flag or national anthem, face protest. France isn't just transforming, it's collapsing. Public libraries are shutting down due to repeated vandalism and ideological disputes. Police unions warn that morale has hit a historic low in migrant-heavy districts. French Jews are fleeing cities in record numbers amid rising hostility. Welfare fraud linked to organized religious networks has skyrocketed. And in schools, teachers are leaving in droves, too afraid to teach French history openly. Religious enforcement groups have been spotted intimidating women over dress in broad daylight. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.